Woosah. Another episode, Bigger Talks IG Live edition. And I got another phenomenal episode with a spiritual guru, healer, YouTuber, and a phenomenal being. I like to say she's a spiritual goddess, Miss Kailyn Bowman. But before we get into the interview, I'm going to talk about an app. It's called the Wisdom app. The Wisdom app is similar to Clubhouse. You know, you go on stage and it's audio based and you speak wisdom, motivation, inspiration, whatever is your thing. And Friday, December 24th, 3 p.m. PST, I will be on the Wisdom app talking 20 to 30 minutes about emotional intelligence, the power of our emotions, where do they come from, and how you can use them for your benefit. So the Wisdom app, go download it, check it out. I'll be on the Wisdom app talking about EQ, emotional intelligence, this Friday, Christmas Eve, at 3 p.m. PST. But we got a great interview. Let's get started. I'm going to bring Kailyn Bowman in. She's amazing. And we're going to talk about healing, transformation, manifestation, 5D consciousness, and all those things to make your soul of you evolve and be more. So, hey,
Hi.
how you doing?
Good.
How's it going?
It's good to be here.
I know it is. Attitude
I saw
of
you doing your
gratitude.
deep breathing, your namaste. Yeah.
Let it in, let it out. Let it in, let it out. Right? We're here. It feels good to be here. Thank you for joining me, taking time out of your beautiful day to be available and speak at this beautiful time of the world that we're living in, right before the new year. I will say before we get started, thank you. Thank you for showing up every day in your spiritual power. Thank you for pushing out inspirational, spiritual healing content, because I found you on YouTube. By the way, anybody listening, watching, she is big on YouTube. She has like 90,000 subscribers, and her videos are short and to the point and consistent. And she also does one-on-one coaching. She leads meditations and all those things. We're going to get into that, but I just really appreciate your energy, your intellect, and what you bring to the world. So thank you. I kind of want to go backwards today. Like when I say backwards, I want to go to the end before we get to the beginning.
Okay.
So just briefly before we get to that, where are you from, and how did you get introduced to spirituality?
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be kind of good for my subscribers too, because I don't really talk too much about my personal life.
Yes.
So I was born in Texas, and I moved to Chicago. So I lived there for a little while, but I grew up in a very volatile environment. So my parents divorced, and through that divorce, my mom got involved with someone bad in Chicago, essentially, and it brought me into a different world that I hadn't experienced before. You know, world of danger and guns and violence. And so, you know, even as a young kid, my nervous system was so overactive, right? And it wasn't until I got into high school where I found the book The Secret, and that book started to get me out of the victim. And I think it's the same for most people, right? People find the book The Secret, but the reason why is because the manifestation stage, it gets you out of the victim stage. So for me, it was like, wow, I can actually start to heal myself. I can actually start to pull myself out of these really toxic situations. And then, you know, from there, I just started to get more into living from our soul. So less living from our ego, because primarily when we go from victim to manifestation, we're still kind of in our ego, right? And we're trying to create things so that we can feel safe in the world. And then I wanted to start feeling safe in my body. Like I wanted to start feeling safe in the world without having to have the relationship to feel safe or have the nice things to feel safe, right? Because I think that's what a lot of people are doing with manifestation. So it's like, how can we feel safe within ourselves? And that's kind of, you know, how that spiraled out. And so that's what I've been doing from here on out. That's the message that I really want to bring to the world. So
Yeah, you know, you turned that pain into power, and your power became your purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in these times, you know, because everybody is so accessible, from the high end to the low end, and everything is about the physical realm, about what I can get, how many followers I have, if I have fame, if I have dollars, if I have money, if I'm dating this person, if I have status, my video went viral. And so what I feel like is a disconnect is spiritual currency, right? We're not tapped into the spiritual realm. You talked on and you spoke on just now on the soul, right? And then you said the ego, and the ego is attached to the personality. And the personality always wants attention and wants to be in control, which is the ego. But the higher self that's connected to the soul wants your attention, wants to know, like, how can we come together, and how can we find our soul's mission? Because granted, it's tough, it's challenging. But like I said in the beginning, I want to go backwards before we go to the beginning. You give briefly of how you were raised and where you come from. Thank you for that. Yeah. Let's talk about 5D consciousness. What is it, and how can people tap into it, or what should people be aware of when you talk about 5D and then 3D? Can you explain from your perspective?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of confused with this terminology when we talk about the 3D to the 5D. But essentially, and then we have the 4D as well. So the 3D is essentially, it's fear-based. This is kind of the physical realm that we're living in. And it's the idea that we're all separate, right? So you and I are separate. Everyone else that's watching this, we're all separate in some way. The fourth dimension, the 4D reality, is a little less fear. This is kind of like the dream world, essentially. So there's more connection, right? That's where we can connect with other souls through our dreams, because there's less fear. But then we move to the 5D reality, which is no fear. It's completely love, which is unity. And that's our soul. That's our soul energy. And that's why the thing is, many people have had these sort of awakenings, right? And they start to tap into that energy of love. And once you get a glimpse of that, it's like you can't go back to the ego world. Like, that's the thing. I mean, sure, you can have nice stuff and you can integrate your ego, but it's really difficult to go back once you've had a glimpse of what it's like to connect to the soul. And so I had that glimpse through multiple awakenings. Usually painful breakups would cause that for me, or, traumatic events, but it was kind of a build on, essentially. But I would say over the past year was this full integration of really understanding that love is all there is, right? And when we're in fear, when we're in fear, it's just an illusion. And so all of the courses and the coaching that I have is to get people into that mindset of love. You just need love. Like, love is all you need to connect to, and then everything else works out. And as I'm saying this, 111. So
yeah, I know 111. How interesting. Yeah. That's love.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And I think, like I said, with everything going on in the world and mass media and the information that's been rolled out to all of us, it's easy to create fear from fear, because there's no love on something that causes you to be in fear. Yeah. So I think when we're granted information, which I've learned is that anything that's coming our way, that's information, we have the power to respond to it. We have permission to attach whatever emotional feeling we want to give it. But because we live in, most of us or some of us, in a 3D space, it's fear. And fear takes over. So, you might have something, then you add something else to it to make it something else, and then your body responds to those thoughts and those feelings, and then you're hurting. So
that's
I love that.
Yeah, because when our bodies aren't safe in the world, which is huge, because most of us do grow up with trauma, whether it's, just small, a little bit of trauma, or it's a massive trauma, it's difficult because we don't feel safe. And because our emotions then create thought forms, right? Because they're so connected that we can only think negative thoughts. We can only think fearful thoughts. So the huge thing is, when you connect to your soul energy, you feel peace. So you have peace. So then what originates from peace is peaceful thoughts, right? Or as people say, the thought of God, or the thought of source, right? So.
And that's funny. I just put a video up and said, is it peace or happiness? And I'm all about peace. Right? Peace is clarity. Peace is freedom. Peace is subtle. It's blissful. It's light. It's not no enthusiasm. It's not, oh, I'm happy. It's like, it's like, it's that moment when you hug someone, not the actual hug, but the feeling you get when you feel like, right? That's peace. And I believe peace will set us all free. But how do we get to peace? Like you were saying, I think that's what you're coaching, your videos, and everything you're about allows a person to get to the root of what is my peace? because your piece might be different than my piece. I was watching a video, or I saw a clip last night, and I learned this. I learned this about 4 years ago, and your video was, or the caption was, how you can benefit from doing nothing, right? Just doing absolutely nothing. Like you're literally not doing anything,
Yeah.
and then everything happens. So can you kind of elaborate on what that means, and what were you really talking about?
Yeah, so essentially, when we look at the ego believes, the story of the ego is that we're lacking something. So the ego is then constantly trying to figure out, you know, how can I build on myself? How can I create more? How can I, you know, enhance my sense of self? So when you connect to the soul, the story of the soul is, I'm already whole and complete, right? So when you're already whole and complete, you can actually just kind of live in the world and kind of float. It's like floating downstream, where you're literally just, because there's already a natural current. The world is already moving in a natural wave, and you just got to get in the same momentum. We're always trying to push against, and that's when we create so much resistance. Like, why do you think we have everything going on in the world? Because we're constantly resisting everything, right?
And it's true, yeah. It's interesting because, you know, coming from the inner city of Baltimore and growing up with a single mother, and, you know, dad was in the streets or however, you were taught to be strong, to be a man, to show up, right? So with that created, and my ego was like, I have to get it done. I have to do this. You know, that masculine energy, right? And so when I moved to LA 11 years ago, and probably about 5 years ago, I was doing it all. I was personal training, was doing Uber, I was selling water machines, and I was just in my way. Like I was trying to do everything, like literally, but it was fear-based. It was scarcity. Because if I don't do it, I can't pay my bills. If I don't do it, and then I had an opportunity where I had to sit still, and my life changed. And so I've been manifesting and transforming my life by doing less, but working on myself more, and trusting the process and letting things come into my vortex for me to live the life I want to live without that fear, you know?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's the art of surrender, essentially, right? That's the part of manifestation that many people just don't connect with, right? And that's really all manifestation is, to be honest. It's really just letting go. Everything, like as you begin to spiritually evolve, you start to realize the only thing I've ever had to do was just let go, right? Because that's your soul. Like once you connect to your soul, everything just unfolds so beautifully.
Yeah. And to the people listening and watching, how does a person let go of something they deserve or they know they should have? Like, how do you let go? Like, what is letting go? Because I think people have different interpretations. The word surrender might cause people to trigger. Like, I'm not surrendering to anything. It's like, no, we're not saying that. Let go.
Well, okay, so letting go of what? Do you mean letting go of the negativity, or you mean letting go of like
whatever, you know, from your, like, I understand the context you're saying letting go, right? Like for example, I could say, I want to make $1 million, I want to be famous, I want to blah 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 blah. But if I'm constantly holding on to I have to have, I can't really get any momentum in that because I'm too attached to it. But when I detach myself and just let go and trust and go do something totally opposite of what I want, then it come into my realm where I can kind of assess it and potentially manifest it. So that's what I was asking. Like, how does a person let go? We know the terminology, but what is the physical? How do you let go?
Yeah, well, the mind wants to think that it's doing something. So I always tell people, write it down. So if you want something, write it down. That way your mind can be like, okay, I've done what I needed to do. And then to let go is really just to be present. That's it. If you can just every day allow life to unfold because many of us just aren't. Like I lived my whole life. I would say the first 25 years of my life completely not present, right? Yes. And so when you're in the present moment, that's full surrender and that's full letting go. And so that's what I really try to get people to do, is to become more present. And then from there, it's really, really simple. But I mean, the thing is that our mind takes us out of the present moment, right? Yes. And there's so much fear and anxiety. So being able to kind of minimize that through, you know, meditation, mindfulness practices, Ho'oponopono, I absolutely love.
Yeah, I love that. That is amazing. I've consistently, if I'm feeling like someone did me wrong or something bad happened and I'm giving that person power over my feelings or thoughts, I'll go and turn. I got a clip. I did a training at NLP like years ago, and they always left us with a clip. It's like 7 minutes. You take the person on stage, you visualize, then you cut the cord. Like, it's powerful.
Yeah.
But you literally, without the words, you release that energy, and it gives your power back because you're not so attached. And I think forgiveness is not only one thing we need, but the pain and trauma that comes with our being, with our evolution of our soul. We get to a place, and there's distractions, there's people, there's things from the past. Yeah. So to anybody who might be out there dealing with pain or trauma, what is the best thing they can do to kind of get out of that state or release some of that energy so they can manifest, so they can be more free and they can have that peace that we talk about?
Yeah. I would say getting some sort of outside help or support. When I was at a really low period in my life, what helped me out was going to the bookstore, quite literally, right? Like, I saw you have a book out too, right?
Yeah, I have a book. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yep. Yeah, I'll have to pick it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so getting resources from people who want to help, right? Or if you can afford it, getting therapy, getting spiritual coaching, that kind of thing. Because let's be honest, we sometimes need help. Like, we sometimes need that help, and it's okay to ask for help. I think some people want to do everything on their own, and there's a kind of a bridge point where, yeah, exactly. The heavy.
That was me for years. Yeah.
And so asking for help is huge, right? Just to navigate that journey. And then you get to a point where you're able to kind of guide yourself, essentially.
Yeah, because, I was listening to an interview last week, and it was a monk. He was talking, and he said, as people, he said two things. The first thing was, he said, as people, we're all seeking pleasure. He was like, even ants seek pleasure. And so the person interviewing him was like, well, why do you think we do that? He said, because we want to avoid pain.
Yeah.
We're not embracing pain. But he said, the moment we embrace pain and deal with those emotions that come with it and then feel it and neutralize it, love comes in.
Yeah.
Right? So now you got that love energy like you talk about. Now you can decide and choose and be aware of the lust or the pleasure, or be aware of the pain and the agony, and say, you know what? I'm at peace. This doesn't control me. I'm not controlled, but it's so hard to be still and let things be.
Yeah.
And he then iterated and said, we think we are 100% responsible for the manifestation of our life. He's like, you're not.
No.
There's so many different other forces at work, so many different things that's at play that you cannot see. You got your mother, your grandmother might be praying for you. You got your friends that believe in you, might be thinking good thoughts of you. You might be putting out positive content.
Yeah.
And then you're doing your work. So all those forces is coming together. It's helping you manifest or get where you want to go. That's why the power of asking for help is so important. And that's what my biggest challenge growing up was. I didn't know how to receive. I was everybody's help. I didn't know how to let people help me. The moment I let people help me, my life changed. My dreams.
100%. Yeah. Because you tap into that feminine energy of receptivity. You're out of balance.
Yeah. Vulnerability, letting go, letting people in and giving them the truth about how I'm really feeling or what I'm going through or what I've been through. And they're like, oh, really? Oh, I can help you. Because it's fear, right? We create a story or narrative in our head that says, oh, I can't tell Kailyn this. If she knows this and she's going to judge me, she's not going to like me. Right. And she's like, oh, really? Oh, I actually just went through that. Let me show you how I got through it. Right. And then you're like, oh, your shoulders drop. And you look around and you're like, wow, the power of vulnerability. And I think in these times where we got social media, virtual reality, and all these things, just talking to someone who's in a space of healing, manifestation, or just praying a lot, or just a good being can help you heal.
100%.
And I think we need to be intentional about the people we allow into our space, because we need good people around to want to feel good and think good about where we want to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, the more you vibrate higher, right? Like, you just end up like, for a long time, I used to think, I got to find all the toxic people in my life and then kind of pick them out, right? And you don't have to do that. Like, the universe is going to do that for you, whether it means that you guys just start to disconnect, or whether it means that they decide, okay, you know what, I'm done with this, I want to leave, whatever it is. Like, the universe is going to make that happen. So all your work is to come into alignment with yourself and to vibrate as high as you can, love yourself, connect to your wholeness, right? And then it plays out. It's so much easier than we make it out to be. All of this stuff is so much easier.
And so let's talk about, increasing your frequency and your vibration. What are a few things people can do to increase their vibe, increase their frequency, to be on a higher level, to attract those things that they know they deserve or they aspire to get?
Yeah. Well, in terms of just being practical, I mean, mindfulness, meditation are key. I know a lot of people don't want to take that time, but it's so important. Like even taking 5 minutes to just meditate is so key. Getting out in nature is huge, right? Like being able to take off your shoes, go walk in the sand, go walk in the grass is really big. But other things like healing, like actually going and doing maybe Reiki, like getting some energy healing work done as well can be really helpful. I'm actually coming out with a 21-day soul vibration activation challenge. So I'll be launching in January. So that'll be like practical things that people can do for 21 days and then see, over the 21 days how their vibration has raised. So it'll be exciting.
Yeah, that's important. And I think that's what people need. They need steps. They need tips. They need the know-how.
Practical
because, how I was raised and where I come from, the terminology and the language is different, right? It's like, go after it, chase your dreams, go get it, get the bag, run it up, be lit, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But no one tells you how to do that or get the money, get fame, whatever it is. But what do you do with it? When you have success, how do you respond to it? When you make a lot of money, how do you invest it? When you get that relationship with that partner, how do you keep it, right? Those things are hidden. It's just like, it's so general to tell someone something, but not give them the details of how you can manifest or do that thing. Yeah. And like with your coaching program or your meditation, soul vibration, it'd be something great for people to tap into, look into, and get it. And also just look for help. Like there are people who are doing what you want. Just reach out. Like I reached out to you because you inspired me off of your YouTube channel that made me go to your Instagram and follow you.
Right.
So I was like, oh, this woman is really tapped in. She's really like a spiritual goddess. She really does the work. She speaks it. She vibrates it, and she knows what she's confident about it. Mm-hmm. And I think as a man in the spiritual space, I always empower and want to tell my men, like, we got to get more spiritual. And I'm not talking religious based. I'm talking about internal awareness, soul awareness, spiritual currency, being aware of if something is going on around you, internally, you know exactly what to do. And I think for women, it's great to see women in this space, to be confident and be outspoken about it, because we all need it, men and women. And so when we can connect and share our ideas or rituals or routines, it benefits all of us. I want to know, like, so you said you told me about your past with your mom and the person she was dating and living in Chicago, and getting into spirituality. Now that you have more information and more awareness and more wisdom and experiences, what is your focus? What is your intentions? And what is your overall purpose in this moment now for yourself and people who subscribe to your community and what you have to bring?
Yeah, it's really about, like I said before, really shifting from the ego to the soul. And you said something that's important too. We can create success and we can, say magnetize in the relationship. But if we're not in alignment with ourselves, we can lose it. And oftentimes we do, or we sabotage it because we're like, oh, I'm not worthy of this. I'm not good enough for this. Right. And then we let it slip through our fingers, or we do something to just mess it up. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've done that. Right. And that's kind of what got me back to the work of like, wow, I can create all these things, but I want to be able to sustain these things. And I want to feel good enough for these things that I'm creating. And then so that's what kind of led me to this idea of we need to find inner peace. We need to find inner wholeness. And that is why I'm here, is to teach people that, yes, you can have I don't want to tell people that you can't have the outer stuff, because I think that at the same time, like, we can integrate both.
What is your thing? Come on, you got a slogan. Tell them, what is it?
What do you mean?
You have a slogan. You have a thing that you say is your thing. I don't want to say.
Seriously authentic, live your truth? What?
No, you can have it all.
Oh, yes, and you can have it all. Absolutely.
Yes.
That's the thing. Yeah, I know. And so we can have it all, and that's so important, because I think sometimes people, and this is something that I experienced when I started watching Eckhart Tolle, I started thinking, yeah, I love him, but I started thinking, wait a second, like, am I gonna have to live kind of like this, right? Where I feel like I have no enthusiasm anymore, kind of like, I mean, he's a funny guy, but I wanted to also be able to integrate, because it's like, I'm in my 20s. I want to enjoy life and have fun.
Have fun, and still be vibrating high, be authentic, love, laugh.
Exactly, but also be at peace internally, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to teach people. You can still live the awesome life that you have in your head, but you can also be at peace inside yourself, because when you're at peace inside yourself, then you're emitting that, and then you're also giving that out, right? Because it's so important that every time we interact with a human, whether it's a stranger, how we interact with that person is going to have a ripple effect, right? So if I go out into the world and I start, getting into an argument with some stranger on the street, that stranger is most likely going to get to an argument with someone else, right? And it's going to ripple effect. And so it's so important that when we're in a place of love, that's what we're giving out, and then it's going to create that ripple. And that's why I do this work.
Yeah, and it's important. You hit it right on where I was at with the question was, how does one deal with a difficult person, family member, spouse? How do you deal with someone who's consistently every day in your life, because they have to be, or they're part of your family structure, your life, your business, maybe your work? How do you deal with a difficult person, or a person who's very agonizing or very challenging or tough to deal with? I know the answer from my end, but I really want to know, how can people really deal with difficulty dealing with someone they have to work with and be with? What is your...
It may not be the answer that people want to hear.
Yeah, that's why we here, baby. Yeah. Give them the truth.
Okay, so as I was saying before, like, sometimes people will vibrate out of your experience. So if you have someone who's still in your experience, right, who's creating all of this stuff, there's a lesson there for you, right? And I can say that from personal experience, because I have someone, a very close family member to me, that I've struggled with over the years, and it's in a very difficult relationship. But it wasn't until I embraced, like, what is this in front of me? What is this person trying to show me? And why am I getting so triggered by this person? And when I started to work through my own triggers, which was, for me, it was, I'm not good enough, because this person kept making me feel that I was not enough. And when I started to heal these feelings of not being good enough, because this is something that I looked up to, right? And so when I started to heal these aspects of myself, and I started to feel better and feel good enough in myself, it's like that mirror completely changed, right? And I would say that that's the big thing is, when you have people in your life, really ask yourself, why are they triggering me? And then go to the root, because we often want to blame the outer world.
Yeah, we want to play victim. You're not a victim, you're a victor.
Not a victim.
You're a victor or victorious. And I think that's the biggest lesson I've learned in my experience in life, that when you can say you're willing to take full responsibility to what happens in your life for you, with you, you have all the power to control how you respond. Yeah. Nothing has power over you unless you give it. So even, like, prime example, if you are consistent, let's say we're consistent at pushing out content, we're consistent at showing up, consistent at being positive and motivating, right? People are used to that consistency through what you bring, I bring, however.
Yeah.
But if you're not that way in that space, a lot of times people can think something's wrong with you, right? Like, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? You having a bad day? Right. And sometimes I might get upset, like, no, I'm not having a bad day. I'm just zenned out today. I'm chilling. However, I'm responsible for the energy I have been given, right? So I can't get upset when someone is anticipating something they usually see from me, because I created that persona. So I can't get mad. I just got to understand, okay, I understand why they're asking a question. So maybe I need to switch roles and give a more authentic space, and not so enthusiasm and happy and, yeah. And then balance it out, the duality of masculine, feminine, and being authentic and real. So responsibility is big with all of us. And I think we don't know how to take responsibility because we're afraid of being wrong, or we don't want to be held accountable.
But sometimes we get pleasure out of playing the victim, though. I think that's what we say. Right?
Look at it from that perspective. Break that down.
Yeah. Well, no, because we get sympathy. We get, oh, well, poor you kind of thing, right? And then we can then kind of extract from the world what we need. I mean, many of us do that. That's how most people live, is when we're in victim mode, it's like, oh, look at me, feel sorry for me, give me something, right? Like charity case type of thing. And, you know, it's really important. There's 4 stages. Have you heard of the 4 stages of spiritual growth?
I've heard of that term, but I don't know the stages.
So you have the victim stage, and then you have the manifestation stage, and then you have the channel consciousness stage, and then you have unity, right? Which is the oneness, essentially. So it's really stepping stones. And, you know, that's why a lot of people you'll see, like even Joe Vitale, I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, I love Joe.
Yeah, he came up with a lot of books that were all about manifestation. And then he started to learn about Ho'oponopono, and this is his main thing now. And so now that he does this, he thought to himself, well, I'm telling all of these people to do all this manifestation stuff, but I found like a better way, and you don't actually need to do all this intention setting. And so he thought, like, do I need to retract all my books? But no, you don't, because there's stages of evolution and development, right? And so the part where you're in that ego-driven mode that you were talking about, heavy masculine, go, 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 that's a part of your healing. Yeah. That was you taking yourself out of victim mentality. Yeah. But then afterwards you find something better that helps you. So. And
it was like, and it was for me, I don't even think it was the victim mentality. I think it was the mentality that I have to always be the winner. I have to always have the answers. I have to always figure it out. I have to always be the one to make the decisions, right? Yeah. Because I was afraid for someone else to make a decision for my life. I was afraid to let go and let someone help me. I was afraid because I didn't know how to ask for help. Because when I did as a kid, I got shut down and it wounded me. So I was like, you know what? I'll just give to everybody and I won't receive. Because receiving is attached to pain in my experience. So, oh, no. I'm not going to let you give to me. Yeah. I'll just give to you. But what I've learned is that that's imbalance. And that's how I failed. Because I didn't let go and let God and let the universe and let all the forces help me be better at becoming whole. Right? Okay. And so I think someone they say, can we speak on maintaining that masculinity and being aligned spiritually? What do you say to that? Someone said, can we talk about being whole? I mean, keeping your masculinity and still being spiritual and aligning. I guess like being a dominant person, but how do you get back into like alignment of being spiritual at the same time? I guess that's like being in your feminine energy as a man. That's what I'm taking from it.
Yeah, I think it's because just with the media, there's this kind of sort of perception of what it means to be a man, which is very, you know, aggressive and dominating, right? And that's actually not the case though. That's not masculinity. Masculinity is really about structure and it's about safety. Like that's why women or just feminine energy are drawn to the masculine energy, because women are so, it's all about movement.
Hey, come here. I got you.
Exactly. Well, yeah, so at the end of the day, it's like the feminine energy wants to go to the structure. Like she wants to feel safe because that's what the masculine energy holds, right? We have this idea, like the personality this is what the masculine looks like, and this is what the masculine does. But it's more an energy that you're emitting. That's why you can be a male and carry more feminine energy, and then you could be a woman and carry more masculine energy. It's not about the gender even. Yeah,
it's that internal representation of what we think it should be based on our perception of the terminology. And I tell people listening, and look, everyone is not into reading books or learning like that way. Like some people are audio, some people are visual. Right? Me, personally, I read a lot. And so as I evolved as a being, I realized, I don't know what Dr. Joe Dispenza says, knowledge is the precursor to experience. So the more books I've read, the more information I gain, because information changes and helps situations, you'll start attracting things to make sense of what you're trying to make sense. And your perception of that thing will change to get a better benefit of that result or that outcome. And I think information in general, like YouTube videos, TikTok informational videos, Instagram pages that are motivational like yours. I just think information is what people need. And once they get it, they got to learn how to dissect it and digest it so they can understand it from their senses, from their consciousness. And I just think there's more people out there that could step up and speak from their perspective, because it's levels, right?
100%.
You know, and I think it's just needed. And the more spiritual we become, I believe, the better we'll know how to deal with the physical stuff that's chaos and out of control, that we don't have control over.
Yeah. And I think one thing also to tell people is, start now. Like, start telling your story now, because so many people think, well, I'm not ready, or I don't know enough, or I'm not healed enough. I started my channel when I was not healed. I was not healed, right? And so, but I still had something to share. I still had something to tell, and that's where I was at. So it's really important that, you can start anywhere and share your story, because at some point you are going to learn something, but someone can kind of jump on where you're at, and it'll help them, right? We all have something to share. We all have something to, contribute to the world.
And it's important, because for me, I always looked at, young Black men coming from Baltimore and looking at, like, okay, what are we glorified for in America or in the world? We're athletic. We might look good. We have this energy. But now I look at, like, the people that run the world that are Black. I'm like, okay, you see the Jay-Z, you see the P. Diddy's. And I'm like, they're great. They're successful. They're driven. They're strong. They're powerful. But there's no book or no blueprint or how to get there. There's only got to be strong. You got to be disciplined. But what does strong look like? What does discipline look like? What are the steps? And my intentions is for men to say, look, okay, I know I can make money. I have power. But when people disrespect or bruise my ego, I don't know how to be. Right? And so we have to learn how to, because all these rappers and, these men are getting killed, and that's a problem. And it's affecting everyone. And I think more men should be more mindful about spirituality, or wanting to know more about it. Because the more spiritual we are, right, and we have spiritual structure, we can help our women. And our women will help us enhance that structure.
Yeah.
And I think, it's important. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, it takes both, because I think now there's so much wounded masculine energy out there, especially in the but the women contribute too, though, right? Because there's the wounded feminine energy. And so, both, as we both heal, everyone can just set an example. And that's key, because when you have someone that you can look up to and go, wow, right? Like, that's who I want to be. It kind of gives you that motivation.
Yeah, because you can relate. So what is your perspective on crucial conversations? I know there's some people on this live right now, I feel it, that might be in a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. They've been in a relationship too long. The relationship is suffering. They're quiet. They don't know how to communicate or articulate their thoughts and feelings, or they might be too much invested in a relationship, and so they're afraid to leave it or have a conversation about something that's vital to their existence. So what is your perspective, or what is your tips on how to approach something in that space when it comes to dating, relationships, or even partnership? It can be business.
Yeah. I mean, it really starts with getting honest with yourself, because it's hard to articulate to someone else what you need when if you're not even connected to your own needs. And typically when we shut down in relationships and we're afraid to have that conversation, it's because we're not even integrated into our own needs. Oftentimes we sort of grew up in an environment where we believe our needs don't really matter, right? Or, I'm going to be, pushed to the side if I ask for this thing, or I'm going to feel weak. I'm going to be weak if I have to ask for something. And so just being able to, get in tune with what you need, what you want, what you're desiring, and then you can articulate it. But I mean, writing it down yourself could possibly help too before you have those conversations. But if you're in a connection where there's a level of safety, you should be with someone where you're able to have conversations. Because if you're not, then you're probably not in the right in the right relationship.
Yeah. And why do you think most of us, I say most, I'm stand on that, we hide the truth from people we like or care about? What is that saying for the being? I've done that most of my life up until, like, when I went through my Saturn return, like 29, 28. Suppress my real emotions, was just ultra positive. Like, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. I didn't really want to let people in. Why do you think people are so afraid to be authentic, not only with themselves, but the people they stand side by side with every day that could probably really help or change outcome. What do you think?
It's the fear of rejection or the fear of abandonment.
Got it.
Those are the two. So once we're okay with rejection, we're okay with abandonment, right? Because you can actually become okay with those feelings, right? It's not about avoiding all of these situations where we could be rejected or be abandoned. It's about knowing that at the end of the day, if I am rejected or I am abandoned, I'm going to be okay because I have a good relationship with myself. That's the key. And that's what I try to teach people is how can you love yourself enough that whatever happens in the physical world, you have a good relationship and you're going to be all right. Right? If not, then we're attached.
Yeah. And I think you get more peace, or at least for me, is when you know who you are.
100%.
All levels.
Yeah.
You know your shadow side, you know your dark side, you know your light, you know what you don't like, you know what you do like, and you're not afraid to embrace that because it's part of your being. I think, especially with social media, we all want to project and present our best self. Like, oh, look at me, I'm this, I'm that, which is fine.
Yeah.
But no one wants to show their wounds. No one wants to talk about the pain or the abandonment. Like I was emotionally abandoned as a kid, so that set me on a path of just give. Not gonna feel that anymore. And so in relationships, things will come up. I'm like, oh, you're doing this because of an abandonment issue. Oh, and then you fix it. So it's just interesting that we have all the tools, we have all the information. We just don't have anybody in our life giving us the confidence about the information to access it and use it and apply it for our benefit. And I think someone like yourself with your YouTube following and your social media following and the way you speak is so powerful because we need more people in that space that can authentically talk about these things we think about, but we might think we tripping. Like, nah, I don't feel that. That's not real. So the question is, what is the quickest or the most simple way that a person can get to its higher self? Like to source energy to that type of divine inspiration within them. What's the quickest or simplest way to get to that place?
Well, that's the thing. We want the quick fix, right?
Yes.
But I mean, it takes work. I have to say it takes time. Like it's a process because, I can't tell you how many times I've gone through the same cycle over and over and over again. And what happens is you go through a cycle, you don't learn the lesson, it becomes more painful. You go through it again, it becomes more painful until you're like, okay, enough is enough. What am I doing wrong? And then you start to do something different, right? And you start to kind of backtrack and be like, okay, what am I learning from this experience? And that's how you build character. Because so many of us just want the quick fix. Like imagine if you woke up yesterday okay, sorry. Good. Imagine if you woke up tomorrow, right? And you were just completely healed. You didn't learn anything. So you have no character, you have no stories, you have no substance, right?
So we need pain, you're trying to say. Or we need some type of struggle or resistance or challenge.
We need it. Yeah, we need it.
Is that why women don't like nice guys?
I think this is the thing. I think that if a woman is emotionally unavailable, she is not going to like the nice guy because the nice guy is not enough of a chase. If a woman is integrated in herself and she loves herself and she's emotionally available, she will be attracted to the nice guy.
Got it. She'll be trying. I like that. So, we got about, I would say 13 minutes. So I do
phone may die before that, hopefully not.
Yeah, I have a segment in my podcast, in my interview process where I do rapid fire. But this one, instead of comparing, I want you to, I'm going to say a word and you just give me your interpretation or your definition that comes to mind.
Okay.
You ready?
I think.
So whatever comes up when I say the word.
Just one word? Do I just say one word?
Whatever comes to mind. There's no right or wrong. It's just whatever comes from your conscious is whatever. You ready?
Okay.
Happiness.
Joy.
Love.
Connection.
Peace.
Calm.
Relationships.
I already used connection.
Pause. That's a big pause, girl. Come on.
Unity.
Got it. Insecurity.
Trauma.
Fear.
Opportunity.
Unconditional love.
5D.
You.
Peace.
Hey, there we go. There we go. That wasn't bad, was it?
Did I do it right?
No, it was no right or wrong way. It's just, sometimes when you have these rapid questions or words or phrases, it's like, get it out and it's cool. It's no right or wrong. It's just fun. It's a way to break ice. I usually do it in the beginning. By the way, what sign are you? When is your birthday?
What do you think?
You even
Just
can
based on
be,
my personality.
you even could be a Libra, a Sag, or a Taurus. That's what I'm getting.
No.
You're neither of them.
Capricorn.
Oh, wow. What's your moon and rising?
Aries and Leo.
Wow, Capricorn. No wonder you're so consistent. What day is your birthday?
December 30th.
Oh, it's coming up. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Any plans?
What's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Pisces.
Oh, you're a Pisces. Okay. My best friend's a Pisces.
What day is her birthday?
March 22nd, I believe.
22nd?
Yeah, I think it's 22nd.
She's the Aries and she's the 22nd. She's on the cusp.
Oh, then maybe it's
February 22nd?
maybe, yeah. I can't remember. Oh, that's so bad. Okay, this is actually something you just revealed something bad about me. I'm the worst. I always forget even my mom's birthday.
Oh no, it's fine. You see how you just were so vulnerable in that? I think people are afraid to be wrong about something they think they should know. Right. Like I forget people's names as soon as I meet them.
Oh,
like,
I never. Yeah.
Kailyn, right? Did I say it right? And it's okay. Like you forget, it's fine. Like it's all love. But yeah, I'm March 9th. Pisces, moon, Sag.
What did you say, March 9th?
Yeah, March 9th. Yep. Got it. So any big plans for the B-Day?
I don't know yet. Well, it's kind of always blended with Christmas. So I have some plans with family, but then I'm also going across the island to go visit a friend as well. So. Got
it. That should be fun.
Okay. Yeah.
And you're on the West Coast. What part of the West Coast are you? Seattle? Washington?
I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, wow. I'll see. That makes sense. It's something about Canadians that I've experienced that I really like. You guys are very down to earth, very nice and sweet, and just always have energy. Toronto is my favorite city.
I'm American, actually.
Yeah, but
I just
no, I get it, but I'm just saying you in that energy of Canada.
Right.
It makes you, because the energy up there is different. It's nice. I've been to Calgary and Edmonton, and I've been to Toronto, so I love Canada. But yeah, how long you been there in Vancouver?
I moved here just a year ago, but I lived here about 5 years ago as well, prior to this. But I noticed, because I moved here from Toronto, and the energy, because you've been to Toronto, right, you said? Yeah. The energy from Toronto and Vancouver is so different. I find that the level of consciousness is elevated. Maybe that's why Eckhart Tolle lives here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, literally, like, Toronto, I was telling my manager, like, bro, this city, and it was like, they probably have, like, 1 or 2 crimes a year. Like, so I love Canada. Anybody that's on here from Canada, shouts out. Love you guys. You're phenomenal. So what's next? Let's talk about it before we wrap up. What's next for you? How can people find you? What can they look forward to? How do we get in your vortex where we can benefit from your teaching and your spiritual essence? Let us know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thanks for giving me the opportunity to share that. So first of all, joining me on YouTube, that's my main platform for sure. But I have opened up one-on-one coaching again. So I started that up again about 8 months ago, which I love. That's something that I just like to be able to personally connect with my YouTubers. I just had a coaching call before this and it was awesome. And so being able to do that, so that's on my website, as well as I have a self-mastery school called Ignite Your Soul. So there are programs, meditations, and there's a bundle going on right now for December. And then, like I said, there's also going to be the 21-day challenge that I'm launching as well. So all of these are just tools to kind of assist you guys on your journey.
Got it. That's powerful. So let us know a fun fact that people don't know about you.
Oh, fun fact.
Like how your favorite musician, your favorite song out, your favorite movie. I don't know. Like, it could be your favorite color, anything.
okay, something about me. I mean, some people already know this as well, and it kind of goes hand in hand with this, but I have a like huge obsession with crystals. So that's
where my crystals at? You know what? I think I got my pocket now.
you
Look at
have
that.
them?
Hey.
Like, let
I
me
think
see.
the heart,
Rose quartz.
yeah, so I keep it in my pocket when I'm walking around or when I'm in the house or when I'm out. Just keep that love on me.
I gave one of my guy friends a rose quartz, and it was,
Yeah,
I think it was just like 2 days later, he met this girl. And I'm like, see, it does work. It
it
definitely
works.
works.
It works for sure.
Yeah. But no, I'm obsessed with crystals, and I'm launching actually a brand called Awakened One. So I'm going to be selling these sort of crystal sets for people if they're interested.
Yeah,
It's just like my little baby.
that's dope. Well,
Yeah.
you've been amazing. Thank you for your
Thank
energy,
you.
time, and just being authentic and showing up today. Everybody, please go follow her YouTube. What's your YouTube?
Kailyn Bowman.
Kailyn Bowman. Follow her on Instagram. It's Kailyn.Bowman, right? Are you on Twitter?
Yeah.
Are you on, what is it? Not Discord. What is it? Patreon? I don't know if you're on that.
No, just mainly. I am on Twitter, but I don't post too much on Twitter. So I would say just Instagram and YouTube.
Got it.
Maybe TikTok soon. We'll see.
TikTok. Come on, get talky tick. Come on,
Yeah.
talk about that spiritual life. We need it now. But thank you. It's been amazing. You have a beautiful, beautiful day. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and also happy birthday. I don't know how old you're gonna be. I don't know if you want to reveal that, but you know what they say. What we reveal, we heal. You know what I'm saying? But you can
I'll
keep
be
that.
28.
28 feeling great. 28 feeling great. Hey, hey, hey. So you're in your Saturn return. You're in your Saturn return. So that's a pretty, yeah. I don't know if you know about the Saturn return, but it's a different time, and I won't say it's tough, but Saturn is a very tough planet. But you'll see once you look it up. But thank you again. I appreciate your essence and your energy. Have a beautiful day. Talk soon. Peace and love.
Hey, good chatting with you.
Yes. Thank you.
Bye. Take care.
Bye. Well, that was great. She's amazing. That was a good conversation about all things spirituality and healing and transformation and manifestation. Kailyn Bowman. I think I'm gonna give her a nickname, KB. Hey, KB from Vancouver. By the way, Chicago. I didn't forget. My birthday is coming up. Tell her happy birthday. And guys, this episode will be on Bigger Talks podcast really soon. But you can get it here on my Liz Eye on Instagram. You'd be great. By the way, don't forget, I got the end of the year spiritual transformation ceremony and workshop. Click the link in the bio to join, sign up, and get your ticket. I'll talk to you guys soon. Somebody eat some food. It's been a day. Thank you. Love. Appreciate it. Gratitude.